Yeah, so let's begin with lab 3. The first task here is to create an elastic IP address. So let me go into the AWS console and go into the VPC tab. Okay, now here in the VPC tab, click on elastic IP on the left sidebar and create on allocate elastic IP address. Now just leave everything to the default and create allocate. So this is my new elastic IP address. Let me take a screenshot of it. Okay, so my first screenshot is done. This is the screenshot is done. Okay, so my next task will be to create a VPC, and I have to create a VPC with private and public subnet. So let me go into my VPC dashboard and click on launch VPC wizard. Let me go into the second option to create with VPC with public and private subnet, and let me give my VPC a name. The specification is to give it as our name underscore VPC. And yeah, so I'm gonna follow this IP scheme here as given, as public should be 10.0.2 25.0 and the private one will be 0.50.0. And make sure that you select availability zones different for both public and private subnets, and just select the allocated elastic IP and click on create VPC. This will take up some time, so I'm gonna pause the recording right now and will resume after the creation is done. Okay, so my VPC is created successfully now. So let me go into my VPC dashboard and let me leave it to refresh. Yeah, so I have two VPCs. One is the default and the other one is the newly created one. Let me click on the VPC. It's loading. Okay, so this is my new VPC, and let me get into the details of it. Okay, so everything's looking fine. Okay, I don't know whether to take a screenshot of this. Let me verify. Okay, not this one. Oh yeah, but yeah, we have to take a screenshot of that screen. Okay, so let me grab a screenshot out here. Okay, my second screenshot is done. Next thing is to take a screenshot of the subnets. Let me go into the subnet tab, and here I can see my subnets where I have my private and public subnet along with their IP4CIDR addresses. So let me take a screenshot of this too. Yeah, this is my third screenshot. And the next thing, yeah, I need to go to the public subnet and take a screenshot of that. So let me get into it. And yeah, take a screenshot of this. Okay, so my fourth screenshot is also done. And next, okay, I have to analyze the routing table of the VPC. Okay, but before that, let me get into this thing. Let me get the screenshot first. For this, I need to go to network ACL and select my newly created VPC with two subnets. Yeah, so here are the inbound rules, and I need to edit it just to allow HTTP traffic only. HTTP traffic from anywhere, and click on save changes. Okay, so this is perfect, and grab a screenshot here. Okay, so this screenshot is also done, and yeah, when this is done, yeah, we have captured even this too. Okay, and now let me look into the routing table of my subnets just to make sure it's perfect. These things will be assigned by default, but still let's have a look into it. Okay, I'll click on my public subnet and scroll down to click on route table. Yeah, it's perfect as it is. Yeah, this thing will be allotted by default, so no need to change anything here. Just make sure you verify that it's perfect as given. And let me verify private subnet also. And yeah, even this is good as depicted. Okay, so we are done with task A. Now let's go to task B. If you have previous RDS and Beanstalk applications, it's good, or else let's create it once again. Even I have deleted it after lab 2. Okay, so let me go into the RDS tab first. Now let's create a database. Let it be standard create itself and select MySQL, and let the template be free tag just to minimize the billing costs, and give the database a name that this is your SRN, and also a user ID and password to access it. And let me do the same for password, and disable the auto scaling feature. And coming to connectivity, you have to choose our newly created VPC for this task. So I'm selecting my VPC here, and let's allow public access just to avoid errors for screenshots, because they haven't specified anything around this. And let me select a default. Okay, let everything remain default, and let's create the database. Okay, so database creation has started, and let me go into the database now. Let's go into security group and add some inbound rules just for it to connect. Okay, so let me go into inbound rules and edit it. Let me add a rule for port 3306, which is MySQL or Aurora database, and let this be accessible from anywhere. Yeah, let's save rules. Okay, our security group task is done, and now let's wait for the RDS to be created. And in the mean, okay, let's go to the RDS tab. And yeah, let's wait for it to be created. I'll pause the video here. Yeah, now my RDS database is created, and now let me take a snapshot of it. I'll name the snapshot as my srn-rds. Okay, take the snapshot and leave it some time to complete creating the snapshot. And in the meantime, we can now shift on to Beanstalk. Okay, so let me create an application here. Let my application name be my SRN and leave everything to default and choose the platform as Python. Let it be same and let it be sample application just to get a green health in our environment. Okay, so I have fast forward the video and now my environment is created. Let me save the configuration of this environment as my SRN and let me save it. Okay, so here's my environment and let me launch a new environment from this snapshot and it will be a web server environment. Okay, let me change the name. Okay, I can't have it similar, so let me add a one here. And domain, you can leave it blank for auto generation or else you can give your SRN also if it's available, and let it be sample code for now because the document doesn't ask us to provide any screenshots of the working app. We just need the working environment and the VPC, so let's just leave it and configure extra options. And coming to the network tab, let me scroll up and set it to our new VPC. And as this is a load balancer, this should be available for the public internet and also should be accessible to the private local subnet. So let me select both of them, and in the instance settings it should be only to the private subnet. Okay, so let me save it now. And yeah, now let me create the environment. Before that, yeah, I need to give it a database. And yeah, we have a snapshot already, so let me link it to the existing snapshot. Okay, so the below fields are filled up by default and let me save it. Okay, I need a password. Okay, let me give it a quick password right now and let me click save. I have a warning here about the subnet association for the RDS. Let's just ignore it because we don't need to provide a screenshot of the working app. So let's just create it now and let me fast forward the video. Yeah, so my new environment is created and it has a gray health, no issues, we don't need that. And let me go into the configuration tab, and they needed a screenshot for the network associated with this application. So let me search for it. Let me go into the document. Okay, take a screenshot clearly showing your environment name and the network in which your application resides. Okay, so yeah, this is the perfect screen. Let me scroll down. Yeah, let me take a screenshot of this. Yeah, this is the perfect screenshot because we have our environment name here and our network details on the right side. I think this is what they expected for this. Okay, so now let me again go back. Okay, let it be like this. And now the only remaining screenshot is the S3 bucket upload, which is totally irrelevant for this experiment. But still, let's make it just for the purpose of the screenshot. Let's go into S3. Okay, and let me create a new bucket to upload my file. And I'll name my bucket as, let me look at the screenshot. Okay, name hyphen srn Okay, yeah, let's leave everything else into their default values and let's just create bucket now. Okay, there's an error here. Okay, bucket should not contain uppercase characters. Okay, let me make everything down, and yeah, p is small letters, and let me create the bucket now. Okay, so the bucket is created. Let me go into the bucket and upload a sample file just for the screenshot purpose, and let me select the lab to source.zip file. Upload any file because it doesn't matter, they haven't specified what to upload. And let me just click upload, and yeah, this is the screenshot which I need. Take the screenshot and all your screenshots are done at this point. You can end the video right here and go on and submit your assignment. And if you also need a tutorial on how to delete all the things which are just deployed, then follow along the video till the end. Okay, so now as the screenshot is done, let me delete it. Okay, the object is deleted. Now let me delete the storage bucket. Copy paste, yeah, delete bucket. And yeah, we have one more bucket here. I'll come into this at the end, but first let me delete the EBS, sorry, Beanstalk app first. Let me terminate the environment, copy the environment name, terminate it, and also go into the application bar and delete the application also. This will automatically delete those two environments. Delete it, and yeah, this may take time, so let's just leave it and shift on to deleting the RDS now. First let's delete the instance, click on delete and uncheck this final snapshot version and agree to the deletion. Now click delete me, sorry, type delete me and click delete. Okay, now our database is getting deleted, and let's also delete the snapshot which we created. Delete it. Okay, even the snapshot is deleted now. RDS part is complete, and even the beanstalk is getting deleted. So let me go into the S3 and get into its permissions. First we need to delete the bucket policy, and then only you will be able to delete the bucket, or else there will be a am policy error. So let me delete the bucket policy first and then get back and empty the bucket before deleting it. Okay, let me empty the bucket here. The bucket is empty now and I can delete the bucket now. Delete. Yeah, S3 part is done, Beanstalk is done, and RDS is done. Now we need to delete the VPC. Okay, let's get into VPC right now. Okay, let me go into VPC. Yeah, so first I have to delete the NAT gateway. Okay, get into NAT gateways on the right side, left sidebar. Yeah, select the gateway which we have created, the first one, and click on delete it. Okay, NAT gateway is deleted. Then we have to delete the internet gateway associated with the VPC. Let me get into internet gateway, and yeah, the second one is the gateway associated with my new VPC. So let me detach it. Okay, there's an error here. Please unmap the public addresses. Okay, let me get into the document once again just to cross verify it. Okay, deleting the private and public subnet. After deleting the private and public subnet, okay, so let me go into subnets and delete them first, private and public, and click on delete. Okay, I can't delete them either. Let me just directly delete the complete VPC. Go into our VPC and click on the new VPC which I have just created. Yeah, and just click on delete. Yeah, this automatically deletes the subnets and also the internet gateway. Let me delete it. And yeah, our VPC is successfully deleted. You can see here. Now the remaining thing is Elastic IP. Yeah, release the Elastic IP. Okay, all that is done. Release the Elastic IP that you allocated. Okay, and let me click on release the Elastic IP. Yeah, and that's it for lab 3. Thank you for watching the video.